Okay, so if you own a Mercedes ML or a GLE truck, 166 body, um, and you're driving down the road and randomly the car sputters and just shuts off, and you try to start it and it starts and then it shuts off, and it just continuously does that and then doesn't start. I'm going to show you what the main cause for that issue is, and it's something you can look into before that happens to you. And I strongly advise every Mercedes owner out there who owns an SUV like mine to go out and check this particular problem before it becomes a problem. So on these trucks and these SUVs, gorgeous cars, there's a problem where water gets into the trunk. I already removed everything out so I can show you. But what ends up happening is water will drain through here, get into these crevices, and then travel down into your trunk. Mercedes has a recall for this where they check these grommets and replace them if need be. But even if they do the recall, you still have the same problem, and I can guarantee it. What you need to do to prevent this from happening to you, from the car failing and shutting off, is you need to go into your trunk and check if you have any water. As you can see, I do. First thing you want to do, obviously, is get everything out and remove these 3 grommets and just leave them out. Don't put them back in. You don't need them there. They're actually more of a nuisance at this point than any solution. The next thing you need to do is there will be a cover here with a fuel pump control module. Disconnect it and remove it. What happens is, when you drive and there's water in the trunk, it splashes up, goes into that area where the module is, and it shorts out the module, so the fuel pump doesn't activate and doesn't send fuel to your engine, and then it shuts off. So to prevent this, you need to go in, clean this out. You want to pour some hot water in here, get the dirt, debris. You can see some dirt in there. Get all that out, clean it up, and just leave those grommets out. If you're not off-roading, water's not going to come through the bottom. The trunk is like 2 feet off the ground, so if water does get into the trunk area, it would most likely flood the footwell areas before it even gets in there, if it's coming from the bottom. And at that point, you're gonna have water up to here. There's a lot more modules here in the car, so if you have full coverage, you know, you'll probably get covered by your insurance company. But check your car and make sure you're not getting water in. If you are getting water in, take the grommets out and keep them out. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna saran wrap my new computer module and heat shrink it to try to waterproof it more, because I don't really know what other solution there may be for this. I mean, you can't really relocate the module. You could probably put it somewhere in here, like put it somewhere here if you take this stuff out, but I don't know. There's not much of a solution for this. If you call Mercedes-Benz and they did the recall for you already, and you're still getting water in there, they're not gonna do anything about it. I called Mercedes-Benz of United States, and they basically said if the recall was performed and this happened to you and the computer module shorted, the cost is on you. They're not gonna pay for it. They're not gonna help you in any sort of way. You can go and inquire about it with your local dealership to see if they'll do anything for you. Highly doubt it. Most likely they'll charge you something like $1,200 to probably replace this module, because the module itself I think is like $300 new, but you can get one off eBay used. It should be a plug and play. There shouldn't be any sort of coating that needs to be done. They're probably going to tell you, the Mercedes dealer, that yeah, we have to replace it, we have to coat it, and that's BS. Prevent this failure by checking on your car. Like I said, another common problem with these Mercedes cars, I mean all Mercedes cars, the sunroof, they have drains. So if you don't clean the drains and you don't you know, maintain it, what ends up happening is dirt debris gets in the drain that has to go down here, and it will clog up and water will overflow, go down the pillar here, excuse the camera angle, and it'll travel into your footwell area, especially on the E classes, S classes. That's a very common problem with Mercedes. They use very small drain holes, and at the bottom of the drain holes they put like a little rivet that doesn't allow bugs and animals to climb up, which sounds in theory great, but when sand travels down it clogs it up, so all the water backs up all the way here and then travels inside the car, shorting out every single freaking module, which why insurance companies don't want to fix it, because there's water in the car. You will not solve every problem. Even if you replace all the modules and you clear the codes and you dry everything up and you take everything out of the car and make it sparkling clean, water damage shows its true problems over time. So try to do the best you can to protect yourself. Like I said, clean the drain holes with some hot water, and every 5,000, 10,000 miles, just run hot water through it. You know, it'll break down all the gunk if there's anything there. Just make sure it comes out when you pour water into the sunroof drain area. Make sure you can notice water coming out. It'll usually come out somewhere right here on both sides. And if it's not coming out, then obviously you already know you're having a problem, and you need to use some compressed air to try and blow out the dirt and debris out of there. If you don't work for a shop or anything like that, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but you can always go to your local shop, pay them an hour labor, and ask them to do that for you once a year. And I'm sure if you pay them the $100 that they'll charge, they'll be more than happy to use some compressed air to blow that out. It's not a big of a deal. But as far as the trunk area goes, again, you need to really check this and keep up with this, because like I said, you will never know unless you check. And this is a very serious situation, because if I was upstate, let's just say somewhere in the mountains, you know, renting a house, enjoying time with my family, and it was raining outside and I didn't think twice about it, got in my car, started driving downhill, all that water goes forward. And if that module shorts out with me driving down a hill up somewhere in the mountains where I don't have anybody to call, or especially I'm not expecting it, in a corner and the car just shuts off on me, I mean, who knows what could happen, right? So please check your cars and stay tuned. So this is the new module that I just got, and what I'm going to be doing is using this gasket maker, the ultra gray Primatex. It was recommended by a lot of mechanics to me. They said this is the best thing. They use it on everything. And essentially what I'm going to do is take this apart and then seal it up so that water cannot get into anything except maybe right here, but we'll do something about that as well. So first step is to take off the 3 bolts. So after the bolts are removed, you can peel this back, you can break it in half, whatever you prefer, and then gently, doing this one hand is a little hard, but we're gonna just take this cover off. Should come off real easy. There we go, just like that. No damage inside. I already tested this module by putting it in the car, so I know it works. And if I make any mistake and it stops working, then I know I'm the problem. So now I'm going to separate this whole unit from the metal casing. The best way to do that is to put a flathead screwdriver right here in this crevice and then turn it on its side like so, that will just gently will allow the adhesive to come off the actual board. And now we're gonna put the gasket maker. We're gonna make a sharp edge and just put it all around where we want to seal properly. You want to avoid getting the gasket maker in anything of this board, just to avoid any issues down the line. Okay, so after allowing this to dry, now I will apply silicone on this edge or gasket maker, but I'm going to be applying on this edge and on the sides, both sides, and putting a little bit on the edge as well, so when I clamp everything together it seals everything. And I'm gonna go around it one more time with more gasket maker to seal it completely. The end result should look something like this. I have silicone all around the base, all around, even on the bottom, these ports on the sides, and each individual bolt is filled with extra silicone, just to make sure that water doesn't penetrate and go in between the threads, somehow make it in, force its way in. Even the split right here that connects the two covers, there's silicone around here. I just put the label back kind of on. I kept the label on here, you don't have to. It's just for my future references in case I do come across this issue again and I ever need it. I have the part number right here, the A00. I know this one is particular to mine because that's the same one that my old one had. So that's just for informational reasons. But like I said, it does not have to be pretty. Just add as much silicone as you want to, as you feel necessary. Seal it up on all sides and you'll be alright. You should be alright from now on. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And Happy New Year's.